Have you ever opened your wallet and heard the silence of lack a dry, hollow stillness, as if your very faith were beginning to run dry? In front of you, bills. Behind you, responsibilities. You glance at your last $2 and whisper, "Is there a miracle left for me?" This is not a legend. It's a true story of a woman with just $2 in her hand and a spiritual journey that turned those $2 into 6,000. Not by tricks, not by luck, not through connections. She had only one thing, a spoken word filled with unwavering faith. If you're searching for a way out not from the outer world but from the walls within, then stay with me. Because Florence Scovel Shinn, who unlocked the gates of prosperity for thousands, once said, "Man can only be what he sees himself to be, and only attain what he sees himself attaining. Your word is your wand. The words you speak create your reality." The woman in this story lived by those truths. When all she had left was $2, she didn't plead for pity or wait for a random miracle. Guided by Florence, she declared her wallet sacred, never empty, a divine channel where money flows in and out gracefully and perfectly. And the miracle came faster than logic could ever allow. Maybe you too are holding an empty wallet, not just in money, but in faith, in dreams, in the sense of worthiness. But that doesn't mean you can't receive your $6,000 in love, abundance, or vitality. It begins with the right word and a heart that dares to believe. In the next part, I'll tell you exactly what happened to that woman and how you can begin practicing the power of the spoken word, even if all you have today seems small and fragile. Are you ready to step into a world where words are energy and faith is the power that creates? Let us continue. She walked into the small room, weary in body, but with something strange flickering in her eyes, as if she had nothing left to lose, and yet still carried a final spark of hope. She placed her last $2 on the table, straightened her back and said, "I didn't come here to beg, I came to understand. To change my life." Florence Scovel. Shinn smiled, her gaze not stopping at the empty purse, but reaching into the deep layers of the woman's soul. There was no financial advice, no get-rich schemes. Florence simply asked gently, "Do you believe your wallet, though empty, is a sacred object never truly depleted?" The woman froze. That question had nothing to do with reality. And yet in that moment, something within her beyond logic answered, "I do." Florence then offered her a declaration not just to repeat, but to become. "My wallet is a magical wallet. Money goes out, and money comes back immediately under grace, in perfect ways. I see it filled. I hear the rustle of bills. I feel the energy of abundance flowing toward me." The woman closed her eyes. She pictured it. She breathed into the vision. No strain, no force, just a quiet allowing of belief. And then the first miracle happened. She opened her eyes and reached to take back the $2, but paused. She placed half of it, just $1, back on the table. "This is my offering to faith," she said. Florence didn't refuse. To refuse would have been to reject the miracle being born from living faith. The woman left with only $1, but this time it wasn't a burden she carried. It was a strange new freedom. As she stepped through the old wooden door, she stopped. A man had fallen off his bicycle right near the curb. She ran to help. As she lifted the bike, he looked at her and said, "Thank you, young lady. I was just on my way to meet someone who's looking for a personal assistant. Are you available?" She blinked in disbelief, then softly answered, "I just left my job." You see, faith doesn't move on a linear path. It isn't about strategic plans. It begins when you dare to step out the door with a grateful heart and act as if good is already on its way. So if you find yourself in a similar place, whether in finances, work, emotions, or a crisis of identity, pause for a moment. Don't ask, "How will I survive?" Ask, "How can I live as though I have already been blessed?" Write an affirmation in the comments like, "I open my heart to every miracle coming to me right now." And watch how many others in this community are walking with you. You are not alone in this awakening. For Florence didn't just teach belief, she taught living in faith as a daily state of being. And when you live that way, the universe or God, or whatever name you hold sacred, cannot sit still. It must move toward you. In the next part, I'll share what happened just 48 hours after that encounter, when the woman received a gift worth $6,000 in a way logic could never explain. And you'll understand why Florence always said, "Miracles happen when you stop doubting and start deserving." See you soon, as this sacred journey continues to unfold. 2 days after that fateful meeting, the phone rang in her tiny apartment. It was the man she had helped by the roadside. His voice was quick but sincere. "Do you remember me? My friend is still looking for a personal assistant, and I believe you're the one he needs. Can you come in for an interview tomorrow afternoon?" Her heart pounded, not out of shock, but because deep down she had already believed that something good was coming. She just hadn't expected it to arrive so soon. The next day she stepped into a sunlit office, a space that seemed to reflect the new frequency she was now carrying. Across from her sat a successful artist, freshly partnered with a major brand. He didn't ask about degrees or job history. He asked one question: "What makes you believe you deserve this job?" She looked at him and replied softly, "Because I no longer doubt my worth. And because I know I bring a fullness of energy not to take, but to give." He nodded. An offer was made on the spot, and the contract, 3 months in total, was worth exactly $60,000. She was stunned. Not because of the amount, but because it was the precise figure she had once declared with Florence, holding an empty wallet, $2, and a faith that had never wavered. But what truly brought her to tears came the very next day. A former friend, someone who had once laughed at her wallet miracle story, ran into her at a coffee shop. When they heard she now had a job with a dream-level income, they paused wide-eyed. "How did you do it in just a few days?" She smiled, not with pride, but with peaceful certainty. "I didn't do it. I just believed and lived as if it had already happened." Dear friend, maybe you too have been doubted, ridiculed, called delusional for believing in something beautiful. But hear this: you are not alone, and you are not wrong. In this community, we believe in the power of words and faith. We don't wait to see before we speak, and then it comes to be. Share your thoughts below. Write it as a declaration over your own life. Here's one to inspire you. I am living in abundance, and I know the next miracle is already on its way. When you write, you plant the seed. When you declare, you open the door. When you dare to live in that energy you no longer chase, you attract. Her journey didn't stop at $6,000. What she received wasn't just money, it was a new identity. A woman who lives by faith and now leads others into their own light. In the next part, I'll share how she turned her transformation into a beacon for others, from a soul once fearful and doubtful into a guide for the lost and weary. See you then as we step into the next chapter together, where you are not only healed, but become the healer. Once a seeker of miracles, she had now become a sower of miracles, not with fanfare, not with titles, but through the quiet power of her presence and the words that reached into the deepest layers of another's soul. In that small office, she didn't just work. She listened. She asked questions no one else did. What have you been saying to yourself lately? Do you believe you're worthy, even without evidence yet? One afternoon, a young designer new to the team murmured over lunch, "I think I'm just lucky. Eventually, they'll figure out I'm not good enough." She turned to him, gently laid her hand on the table, looked him in the eyes and said, "You weren't chosen by accident. You were chosen because you carry a frequency this place needed." Then she handed him a small piece of paper. It read, "I am the right person in the right place at the right time. I don't need to pretend to be anyone else." He took the paper silently. Moments later, his eyes brimmed with tears. "No one has ever said that to me ever. I'll keep this for the rest of my life." From that day forward, his performance changed, not because of skills, but because his belief had been reawakened. Florence once said, "We never realize how strong we are until we stop repeating the words that weaken us." The woman who had once been imprisoned by her own inner voice was now freeing others, using her words like light, like medicine, like sacred awakening. You don't need to be a coach. You don't need a title to inspire. You only need to speak to someone with love instead of judgment. You only need to say, "I believe in you," and something miraculous will unfold not just for them, but for you. If you've ever been saved by the right words at the right moment, you already know how powerful it is. Now ask yourself, have I ever been or could I become that voice for someone else? If your answer is yes, write it below. I commit to using my words to heal, not to harm. We are building a community of awakened souls, not perfect, but honest. Those who dare to choose love, dare to choose faith, and dare to share their awakening as a gift for those who come after. She no longer feared poverty, no longer feared rejection, no longer feared losing a job. Because what she now carried could never be taken away, a sacred connection to her inner source of power. In the next part, I'll share the most profound moment of her journey when she stepped beyond her greatest fear, the fear of abandonment, the fear of not being loved, and how she transformed it not through someone else's comforting words, but by what she finally said to herself. With complete faith, stay with me, because this final part might be the very thing your soul has been waiting for. There was one fear she had never dared to face, not hunger, not failure, but a deeper, quieter fear, the fear of being abandoned. As a child, she had witnessed her parents' fights and eventual separation. As she grew, relationships came and went, no one ever truly stayed. And over time, a silent belief settled in her heart. I'm not enough for someone to choose me forever. Yes, she had healed her money story. Yes, her confidence and career had blossomed. But in the stillness of night, her heart would whisper, what if all these good things leave me too? One Sunday evening in a small church class, the instructor read a quote from Florence. The one who fears loss loses, but the one who holds unwavering faith retains all that is theirs under grace. Her heart clenched. The words cut through the strong exterior she had so carefully built. She knew if she didn't face this fear, everything she had gained would remain fragile. Because fear left unchecked always finds a way to sabotage the good. That night, she didn't try to silence the fear. She lit a candle in her small room and wrote out the feelings she had long buried. I'm afraid I'm not good enough. I'm afraid someone will leave when I need them most. I'm afraid of being forgotten. Then, with a deep breath, she wrote again. But this time not in the voice of fear, but in the voice of her awakened soul. I am unconditionally loved. I am chosen every day, not because I am perfect, but because I am me. Love doesn't leave. It waits for me to believe in it long enough to receive it. She didn't know why, but after writing it, something shifted. Her heart no longer tightened when someone came close. The thought they'll leave eventually dissolved. And in its place, a quiet peace emerged. If someone walks away, it doesn't mean I lack anything. It simply means they're not meant for this part of the journey. From that moment, she began living more freely, loving without clinging, connecting without proving. And then, someone special came into her life. Not rushing in, not making grand promises, but showing up each day with quiet consistency. He said, I didn't come to fill a void. I came to create a space with you for real, sacred love. You see, the miracle wasn't about who showed up. It was about who she had become when love arrived. She was no longer the fragile woman searching for love like a life raft. She was the one who now understood love is a natural part of her soul. And the moment she stopped running from it, it came to her. Have you ever feared being left behind? Have you ever thought I'm not good enough to be chosen and kept? If so, know this, you are not alone, and you are not broken. Write this below as a commitment to yourself. I no longer fear being abandoned. I am chosen every day by true love and an awakened soul. By sharing, you become a light for someone else facing the same fear. Because fear loses power when brought into the light of love. She was no longer someone seeking validation. She had become a woman who knew with all her wounds and all her light, she had always been enough. Let us become vessels of unconditional love, starting with what we say to ourselves every single day. I am loved not because of what I do, but because of who I am. In the final part of this journey, I'll share the moment that transformed everything for her, when she began to teach to inspire and to create miracles for thousands, all from a belief in one simple yet life-saving truth. Words carry energy, and that energy can heal a life. The young woman, once timid, holding her last $2, now stood before a small gathering, a soft light cast upon her face. Not the spotlight of fame, but the gentle glow of a soul awakened. She was not there to teach, but to share her journey, the journey of becoming her true self. The room fell silent as she spoke. I'm not here to convince you to believe me. I'm simply here to remind you, you've been strong before you've just forgotten. She shared about the early days filled with doubt. About the moment she had only $2 yet, still chose faith. About her first spoken affirmation. And the first moment she was no longer afraid. Then she looked into every pair of eyes before her as if speaking soul to soul. You are worthy. You are whole. You are finding your way back to yourself. From those humble gatherings, she began receiving invitations from everywhere. Not because she was famous, but because her energy resonated and people wanted to touch that frequency. A single mother once messaged her, "For the first time in years, I dared to say I am a good mother. Because of your video, I sat with my child and spoke with love instead of fear." A man who had planned to end his life stopped simply because he came across an affirmation that read, "I am light in the darkness. I was not born to break, but to rise and shine, so others may find their way." And then the miracle unfolded, not one that came to her, but one that awakened within thousands. They began writing affirmations of their own. They began healing each other. They began to see one another, not through labels of pain, but through eyes of deep knowing. Souls who had walked through the dark and returned with light. Dear friend, maybe you've never imagined yourself as an inspirer, but Florence Scovel Shinn once said, "Anyone who chooses to speak with awareness is already a spiritual leader." You don't need a stage. You don't need a microphone. You don't need followers. You only need to rise each morning and speak one kind word to yourself, then offer one healing word to another. If you've ever said something that made someone smile, you've already begun. If you've ever calmed someone's fears, you're already walking the path. If you've ever forgiven yourself, you're already awakening. Write this below as your vow. I choose to speak words that heal. I am a light in this world. That small sentence, when spoken and shared, may reach someone who desperately needs to hear it. And if you wish to join a community of healing hearts, drop a light emoji or share your favorite affirmation. We are not alone. We are remembering together. We are rising together. In the next and final chapter, I will bring this journey full circle with a message Florence once left us. No circumstance is greater than the word of someone who knows who they are. And I will show you how to begin each day with the most powerful declaration, a daily ritual to reconnect with your inner light. Stay close, because the final part may be the one you carry with you for the rest of your life. Sometimes the miracle we seek isn't something grand. It's simply the right words at the right time. A look of quiet belief. A gentle reminder that says, you don't have to become someone else to be worthy. The story of the woman and her last $2 was never truly about money. It was about faith, about the courage to believe in what isn't yet seen and to act as if it already is. Florence Scovel Shinn once said, "The secret is not in the circumstance, it's in what you say about the circumstance." The woman in this story didn't say she was poor. She said, "I'm planting seeds of prosperity." She didn't say she was alone. She said, "I'm holding space for the right soul to arrive." And that shift from the language of lack to the language of belief unlocked a door she had never dared to walk through before. Dear friend, are your words acting as keys or as chains? Are you unknowingly holding yourself in invisible cages with phrases like, I can't. I'm not enough. I don't deserve. If today you choose just one new sentence to speak, let it be this: I am walking alongside the good that is already finding its way to me. Whisper it in the morning. Write it on a sticky note and place it on your mirror. Repeat it while cooking. And watch, see if the world outside begins to reflect the words you speak within. This video isn't about telling a miraculous story. It's here to remind you miracles happen every day when you change how you speak about yourself. From one sentence, a new energy is born, and from that energy, a new reality begins. If you see yourself in this woman's journey, if you too have once held the last dollar of your faith, if you too are planting words of light each day, share your affirmation in the comments. Let today's declaration be: I am worthy of unconditional love. I attract goodness and opportunities that are right for me. I trust the divine timing of my life, not to impress, but to inspire, because your words today might become someone else's light tomorrow. If this video felt like a quiet awakening in your heart, don't forget to hit subscribe so we can continue this journey of healing through words together. And if you'd like to receive morning affirmations each week, turn on notifications. Think of them as warm cups of tea for the soul on its way home. And finally, close your eyes and gently say to yourself, I am ready to receive the very best gently, fully, and at the perfect time. Then open your eyes and go on living as if that moment has already begun. Because who knows? The next miracle may be waiting just one click away.